Start Broadcast button on the Go to
Welcome to
Webinar
this
control
introduction
panel
video
to allow all
for Key
attendees
Action
to hear
2
you.
School
This system will
Education
notify you
Partnership.
once you begin your broadcast.
So Key Action 2, Cooperation for Innovation and Exchange of Good Practices, is all about enabling organisations to work together in order to improve their provision for learners and share innovative practices. Under Key Action 2, organisations can apply for funding to work in partnership with organisations from other participating countries. Strategic partnerships aim to support the development, transfer and/or implementation of innovative practices at organisational, local, regional, national and European levels. UK institutions can work with others to help improve education provision across Europe. Key Action 2 aims to increase the positive impact of European activities at all levels to ensure benefits for the individuals, organisations and all countries involved in the projects. International relations with key stakeholders will help to share new approaches and improve education and training across Europe. So the Erasmus Plus programme has significantly evolved from predecessor programmes such as Comenius. It's now much more strategic with clear objectives and priorities. So some of the feedback we received from assessors in previous years was that organisations were weak at making their applications personal and relevant to the organisations of the partnership. The assessors also commented that some applications did not explicitly show how their project linked to the Erasmus Plus priorities. Each year, the European Commission sets horizontal and sector-specific priorities for Key Action 2. These are priorities that the European Commission would like Key Action 2 projects to address or target. Horizontal priorities are priorities that are applicable across all fields of education, training and youth. Priorities relevant to each individual particular field of education, training and youth are also set each year. So for a school education project to be funded, your project must address at least one horizontal priority or at least one school education sector priority. And to read those priorities, please check out pages 107 to 108 of the 2016 Programme Guide. So in 2016, there have been some changes to the Key Action 2 structure for Erasmus+. Projects can elect to be a partnership project for the exchange of practices or a project supporting innovation. So depending on the objectives of the project, the participating organisations involved, the expected impact and other elements, strategic partnerships can be of different sizes and adapt their activities accordingly. So strategic partnerships supporting innovation, these are projects that are expected to develop innovative outputs and or exchange into intensive dissemination and exploitation activities of existing and newly produced products or innovative ideas. Applicants have the possibility to request a dedicated budget for intellectual outputs and multiplier events in order to directly answer to the innovation aspect of this action. Strategic partnerships supporting exchange of good practices are slightly different. The primary goal is to allow organisations to develop and reinforce networks, increase their capacity to organise and operate at transnational level, share and confront ideas, practices and methods. Selected projects may also produce tangible outputs and are expected to disseminate the results of their activities, although this will be in a way that is proportional to the aim and scope of the project. These results and activities will be co-financed through the budget for project management and implementation. Projects that select to be an exchange of practices cannot request additional funding to support the development of intellectual outputs or multiplier events. Here is a list of countries that can apply for a Key Action 2 project. The programme countries are those belonging to the EU and also include former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia, Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein and Turkey. And a full list of partner countries and programme countries can be found on pages 22 of the 2016 Programme Guide. So all Key Action 2 projects are organisation and led. Individuals cannot apply directly for a grant. Whilst a staff member can complete the application form on behalf of their organisation, the project remains the organisation's responsibility even if that staff member leaves the organisation. As a general rule, strategic partnerships target the cooperation between organisations established in programme countries. However, organisations from partner countries can be involved in a strategic partnership in school education, but they can only be included as a partner and they cannot be the main applicant organisation. And they should only be added to the partnership composition if their participation brings an essential added value to the project. This has to be justified clearly in the narrative sections of the application form if you choose to apply. And just as a reminder, the activities of learners as well as long-term activities of staff or youth workers from or to partner countries is not eligible. Please be aware that application organisations must be legally registered in the United Kingdom. Therefore, sole traders, partnerships, trust and unincorporated associations are not eligible to apply for Erasmus Plus funding. Please see eligible organisation lists on our website to check if your organisation is eligible to take part. And if you have any questions about your eligibility, please contact the British Council by phoning 0161 95 77755 or by emailing erasmusplus.enquiries@britishcouncil.org. So there's two types of partner compositions that school education projects can have. The first is a normal composition. So this is a minimum of 3 eligible organisations from 3 different programme countries. In the application form, there is a drop-down menu, which means you can choose to be a project for cooperation between regions, and the minimum partnership requirement is slightly different. The minimum requirement for a partnership for cooperation between regions is the 2 different local or regional authorities from 2 different programme countries. Whilst your project will involve a number of organisations from across Europe, only the lead organisation of the partnership should submit an application form to their national agency. This submission is made on behalf of the whole partnership, so project partners do not need to submit the same application to their own national agency. School education projects are multi-beneficiary grants. What this means is that if your project is funded, the lead organisation will receive the contract and funds. The lead organisation is then advised to organise inter-institutional or organisational agreements with their partners and agree how the money will be used and distributed. So as a reminder, the deadline for applications is Thursday the 31st of March at 11 AM UK time, and this is 12 o'clock midday Brussels time. I can't stress enough how important it is that you submit your application well in advance of this deadline. Last year, many organisations left it till the last minute to submit and faced technical difficulties submitting successfully due to firewalls. We cannot accept late applications. Anything submitted after 11 o'clock AM UK time will be considered late and ineligible. And considering that this deadline is applicable to all sectors of Erasmus+, the UK National Agency will be extremely busy in the lead up to this day. By submitting early, you allow yourself enough time to contact us and for us to be able to support you in rectifying the problem. So please do not leave it until the last minute to submit your application.
So an Erasmus Plus grant is made up of budget categories, which together make up your total grant amount. Project management and implementation funds will automatically be added to your grant total as it is calculated according to the length of your project. You can see on the screen the wide variety of activities it can be used for. One of the biggest questions we get asked is, can I use funds for supply cover? So funded projects can use some of the funds in this budget category for supply teaching, if without it the project activities could not go ahead, and if it directly facilitates the implementation of the project. You must keep in mind that if this leads to poor quality of project implementation, because there are not enough resources for the organisational and dissemination tasks, this would put your project at risk of having its final grant cut. Transnational project meeting funds can be applied for, although you need to justify the need for the meetings in terms of number of meetings and participants involved. Intellectual outputs are activities requiring substantial staff input in order to produce tangible and significant outputs. They include publications, for example, academic papers, policy recommendations at different levels, needs analysis, curricula and course materials, new methodologies, training materials, assessment methods and materials, handbooks, advice and guidance, case studies and good practice, innovative uses of IT in different media, ICT-based tools and software, and evaluations and reports. Separate funding can be requested to cover the production of such intellectual outputs. Please note that it's only considered intellectual output if proven their potential for wider use and exploitation, as well as for impact. Multiplier events are only available to projects producing intellectual outputs. The aim of a multiplier event is to share intellectual outputs to individuals and organisations outside of the Erasmus Plus project. Multiplier events should disseminate and increase the impact of intellectual outputs. Other dissemination activities will be supported via project management and implementation funds. Multiplier events are events organised by the partnership. For example, conferences, seminars or meetings that are directly associated to one or more of the intellectual outputs developed through the work of the project. The aim of a multiplier event should be to test, implement or disseminate the intellectual outputs to a wider audience. Multiplier events should involve a large number of participants from organisations that are not already involved with the partnership itself. Such events can be organised at national or transnational level. So learning, teaching, training activities can be funded by a number of budget categories, remembering that learning, teaching, training activities are the things like short-term exchanges of groups of pupils and short-term joint staff training events. So for travel, you can apply for a contribution to the travel costs of participants, including accompanying persons from their place of origin to the venue of the activity and return. For individual support, you can apply for a unit cost per day covering the subsistence of participants, including accompanying persons during the activity. Individual support can be used to cover the accommodation and subsistence of participants whilst undertaking their mobility activity. If you plan long-term mobilities, you can apply for linguistic support funds. This is to help contribute to costs linked to the support offered to participants in order to improve the knowledge of the language or instruction of work. There is a category new to 2016 which is expensive travel costs of participants from outermost regions and overseas countries and territories. There are lots of details in the What Else Should You Know About This Action section of the 2016 programme guide. So special needs support can be requested. This is for additional costs directly related to participants with disabilities and accompanying persons, including costs related to travel and subsistence, if justified, and as long as a grant for these participants is not requested through budget categories, travel and individual support. Examples of eligible exceptional costs, provided sufficient justification is given, could be translation of intellectual outputs and other key material that the project is producing, an external evaluation of the project, or equipment critical to the delivery and success of the project. Equipment cannot include normal office equipment or equipment normally used by participating organisations. And some examples of ineligible exceptional costs could be normal office equipment or equipment normally used by participating organisations, items that are not critical to the successful delivery of the project, and catering staff time for work on intellectual outputs or any general project management and implementation activities.
So to conclude this video, I'd like to remind you of the support the UK National Agency will be offering in the run-up to the deadline. There will be written guidance available on our website, and you can download that now from our relevant apply sections of our website. We recommend that you have this guidance with you when you're completing your application form, as it's very detailed and will help you to complete all sections of the form. We will also have a second video on our YouTube channel which will take you through the application form step by step, and you can use that in your own time, pause it and help you complete your application form. In addition to these videos and our application guidance, you could also join one of our question and answer interactive support webinars, and to register to attend one of our webinars, please visit the events section of our website. Also, if at any stage of your application you have any queries, please do contact us as soon as possible. Here are our contact details. Our team at the UK National Agency is available every day from Monday to Friday to answer any questions or queries you may have, and you can contact us via telephone on the number on the screen or via erasmusplus.enquiries@britishcouncil.org.